Humble bank head, you can bank that. Looking for a sucker, well, I ain't that. Looking for the money where the bank at. I'm triple OG, I rank that. I'm cold, ride through the city on Vogues. Errol Spence Jr. is looking cut up. In this video, we got to talk about it. Errol Spence, hey, man down, stretch season. All right, stop that cat. Yeah, it's definitely. I definitely do that, right? The man from DeSoto, if you didn't know though, he looking in shape. And your boy Ego, I'm finna take you through it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Ego Weight Watchers, a.k.a. Ill, where I give you a look into the fighter lifestyle before, after, and progress picks, especially when they have an upcoming fight. Now, I made this graphic for y'all. Feast your eyes on this, right? Errol Spence, his girl recently had a birthday. They went out on vacay, right? Ego Weight Watcher Errol Spence looks dialed. Dialed like guile. Sonic boom. Absolutely shredded. Bro, what we talking about? What did Jay say? What we talking about, fiction or we talking about fact? You talking about fiction? Hold up. Part of my back. The Jamaican is looking in shape. Bro, stop playing with him. Stop playing with him. Now, I made this comment before, and I want to double down for the new people watching my channel. If you uck with Boxing Ego, by association, you uck with Errol Spence. That's the way it is. That's just the way it is, right? Because I feel like our journeys are parallel. You know what I mean? He was like coming up and, you know, doing his thing in boxing. And I was like coming up, really had my feet on the ground in the field, covering his fights and others, you know what I mean? But our histories are synonymous, you know what I mean? I was at Errol Spence for some of these biggest fights where he was selling out in Dallas and Arlington and Frisco at the Star and all that, all right? And listen, I've always been a fan of Errol Spence's fighting style. He's a good dude. My thing is this. There are things that are more important than boxing. Point blank, period. The man went through a horrific car accident that very well could have like taken him like out of here, you know, off this planet or whatever. So I just feel like the fact that he even came back and gave us any more fights shows you what type of time he's on. And it shows you his mentality. Because I was one of the people saying, given your situation, given what, like, you had a past because you had done all this stuff for your career, legacy in boxing, collected belts one by one. So you had some grace there where you could have just easily came back slowly. You know what I mean? Because fighters have come back slowly from less. They didn't get ejected from a car and then hit asphalt. They just were on the sideline for like promotional beefs or disputes or lawsuits, or they got dropped by a promoter. So they were out the loop for a while. And then they come back with a super soft touch. So the fact that the man followed suit and followed through with the plan, came back to Danny Garcia, which was the plan before the accident. That's why, if you remember, after Errol Porter, and I was at that fight, after that particular fight, Danny Garcia got in the ring, right? And I remember it well. My memory in general is very good. Very good. But it's even better when there's like certain like landmark things that go on, if that makes sense. And I remember I went to Errol Spence and Danny Garcia, right? Or not Errol Spence and Porter. I went to that fight. So there's that. So I remember it just because I was in LA for that particular fight, right? So I remember like Danny Garcia and all that stuff got in the ring. And literally it was only a few weeks after the Porter win where he unified that he got in that bad car accident. That's what happened. And another reason I remember it so like vividly, on top of me just having a very, very good memory, is because I'm out here, as most of you know, in Northern California, the Bay Area and back down, right? And I remember distinctly, I was in a hotel when I got news that Errol Spence was in this car accident. The reason I was in a hotel is because out here in Northern California, we had these vicious fires. So they made everybody evacuate and go elsewhere for shelter. So you had to like find your way and go stay with family or get a hotel or whatever you had to do because the fire was spreading. And it was one of the scariest moments because I don't know who's experienced this before, but when the police show up at your door and say, you got to leave in 5 minutes, you're just like caught with your pants down, pause. You're like, what? You know, where's my birth certificate? Where's this? Where's it? My laptop? You know what I mean? But you don't have time because sometimes when tornadoes are coming or natural disasters, fires or whatever, people try to linger and stay around too long. And then like the fires in Paradise, same thing. They got the Matthew McConaughey movie Lost Bus about that, right? But anyway, when that happens, some people get trapped there because they linger and try to stay long enough and, you know, hope it won't affect them and stuff like that. So I had to leave. So I remember that specifically. If you guys look it up, Errol Spence car accident date, and then look up Northern California fires, they're going to be synonymous. So I remember specifically. So a little side story for you guys. Errol Spence, he could have came back slow. He didn't. Now he looks like he's taking his time, but I am happy to report he does look in vicious shape. Whether, I don't know. I don't know if he's doing this for health reasons, like healthy lifestyle, or if he really out here, you know what I mean? Like trying to make a comeback. But there's rumors that he could fight Tim Tszyu. We'll see. He definitely looked like he in shape. To be honest, I used to see Errol Spence. Someone said he looked like Ace Hood brolic. Facts. Shout out to Mark. Yeah, he brolic like Ace Hood. You know what I mean? There's no way he's not getting in shape for a fight. I hope he comes back. So a lot of people are now speculating the future for Errol Spence. Me, y'all know my style. That ain't really me. I don't like to speculate as a man because what's the point? You know, I'm not opposed to waiting. I got time. You know what I mean? I got time to wait. So we'll see what's next. But the boy is looking shredded. He looking in crazy shape. And I think that's good because if he is coming back, in his off season, he looks better now than some of the other times where I used to see him. And it's not that he looked like insanely bad before, but he looked bulked out and he looked bigger and more massy. He wasn't as lean. And I don't even know if he would have had a six pack when I would just see him loosely in between fights. So whatever it is, whether it's health or he's mounting a comeback, he definitely is in shape. He's definitely in shape. And even if he's moving to 54, judging from his physique, you know, he looked closer to that weight than some of the times where he was at 147 and he was in his off season. And he even admits that. He did interviews where he was like, I was approaching 190. I was in the 180s, right? So maturity is a mug for a man. You know, you go through certain things in your young 20s and you start hitting 30s and 40s, that stuff change up. Let me know how I did in this video. Use my link me to get to all my links to support the channel. Multiple ways to do that in 2026. Holla.